So, I just got done watching the first episode of Blue Period, a show I've been pretty excited about, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be something I would watch or read or both. And ultimately, I originally had plans to cover this one after thinking I had the time to cover it episode by episode. But I also had a hunch that I would come out of the first episode and feel like this is rather of a binge series than a weekly experience. And that's exactly how I feel. It's such a good series that I wouldn't be able to do this week by week. I am going to wait for this one to conclude, but I have to give my first impressions of Blue Period because this show is quality, and it's something that I feel like by the time the last episode concludes for me, I'm going to be checking out that manga because it's something that has a level of passion that I haven't seen in some time. This series is so good at nailing that kind of high school feeling of fitting in, kind of lying to yourself of who you are and who you want to be because social norms and peer pressure and family pressure are piling on you, so you do what you can to fit in while ignoring the things that probably make you happy. The idea of a main character who has a legit passion for art but hides that passion and fits in with his friends and likes them but feels like society is basically a lie. That you lie to fit in and you lie to go day in and day out, and no one is really telling the truth. So when you see a person making paintings or seeing a group of people enjoying art, you scoff at that. You say, why would you want to pursue art for a living? It's one of the highest tuitions for the lowest paying jobs if you're even lucky enough to get a job through an art degree. And a lot of what he says is true, but there's a very clear difference between him and the people that he's scoffing at, the people that he is mocking and ridiculing. And that's happiness. Ultimately, you can't get by on just passion in the world. It's great if you can turn a hobby into a career. It's something that's challenging, it's something that takes a lot of hard work, and it's something that takes a lot of double job hours, like 80 hours a week to basically make it happen. But there's a difference between someone at the very least attempting to make their dream a reality, failing, going and doing something different and keeping that hobby something that's relevant in their life, versus someone who never tries to begin with and lives a dead-end job with a dead-end life. And I love how they really nailed that pressure of him blending in, the idea of him smoking just because, not because he likes it or wants to, but because that's just what his group does. The all-nighters, I actually do study pretty decently and they don't, but kind of mocking it as, I kind of give it hard work, but I'm not an all-star student or this or that. The idea of having a main character who gets roped into art and having probably one of the best art teachers, if not best teachers in general, I think I've seen in anime. When they're like joking around, being like, oh, I'm just gonna draw the tits of my girlfriend. This old woman pops up being like, sure, go ahead, absolutely. Make sure you get the physics right. I remember my own art teacher who was only like, when I was in, I think it was like 12th grade, so I would have been 17 to 18 at the time. I think she was like 26 or something like that. She was a very young teacher, but she knew her shit. And she could make you believe in yourself. And I was not an artist. I took art because it was combined with art history, and I love the art history side of things. I was shitty at art. And most of what I attempted, I failed at. But she was always a very encouraging teacher to trial and error, showing you how to do things you normally couldn't do. And ultimately, I discovered I really liked painting, even though I couldn't do a lot of these other things. The way she taught me how to blend colors and to express in very abstract ways, I could make ocean scenery in ways I never thought I could. This was like the exact impression I got from this teacher, and I really love how grounded to reality this is. The idea that the parents, they can't afford private schooling, so he has to attempt something at the public sector there that's going to be a lot more cheap that they will actually be able to enroll in. But what he's chasing after, 4, maybe 5 people a year get into that school, but he's someone with a vision. Blue Period is one of those magical series that really doesn't play by what you typically see with anime, and that's what makes it so special. Like, of course, I've heard people say that some scenes in upcoming episodes don't live up to maybe manga panels, and that the pacing, I guess, gets a lot more fast. And that's to be expected pretty much with any adaptation in my mind. For me, the way the colors, the way the music, and especially the directing when he kind of gets in that floaty scenery with the blues kind of lighting up the imagery, very impressive stuff that really has me excited to binge this show probably in one sitting, because had I had all the episodes at my fingertips, I would do so. And I have a couple more I could watch right now, but I just can tell that this is a series for me, something that hits me on that emotional deep level, that has character writing that feels genuine without like just random ass shots or random comedy scenes that don't make sense. The humor and comedy that is there feels very grounded to high school reality, and I really appreciate the genuine passion behind this show. And I'm very excited to binge this when it's all over. And I know there's going to be some people saying, no, I want you to do it episode by episode. I'm not going to have anything really else to say that I haven't already probably said in this video and future videos, at least enough to warrant a full review. So for me, could you expect a full video when it's done? There's a good chance, but I don't know what my schedule will look like by the time that happens. But I do want to at the very least give a first impressions. I know I did promise weekly videos, but I can't guarantee how I'll feel after finishing an episode. I knew I'd like it, I just didn't know if it would be a weekly show, and for me personally it's a binge, and a binge is what I'm going to enjoy. And if anyone's kind of teeter-tottering on the idea of, oh, should I even wait for it to be over because it sounds like a binge show? If you do watch episode 1, I do think the ending to it, while it still is just getting the story started, it's an easy enough stopping point for 3 months, at least for me, so there is that to keep in mind if you do want to test the waters with this show. Or maybe you'll test the waters, go binge the manga, and then wait for the anime to be over, something like that. I mean, this is the type of show that I think is very difficult to translate to an anime, because I've seen some panels of the manga just out of context, because I've seen some things that I was just like, how the hell would you translate that to anime without a very talented team with a very good time limit to craft these episodes behind it? And I don't think there will be a universally agreed opinion probably from the manga community that it's a perfect adaptation, that every single scene and every single moment lives up to the hype. But I do think this is a good adaptation from what I've seen. And I think a good adaptation does two things. One, has you interested in the story as a whole, so should it never get more, you want to pursue the source material. And 2, captures the essence and energy of the main idea behind it, even if changes and things like that are made. And I have to say, like, this is probably one of the more memorable first episodes of the year for me. Really, I would put it that high up there, because it's something that really sticks to reality, and despite it being yet again another school series, there's something oddly mature about how they handled it, and I can safely say it's one of the rare cases. I looked at how they presented kids in school and said, hey, that actually feels real despite it being an anime, and you don't get to say that too often. So for me, Blue Period is a very high recommendation. Even if you don't see me covering it past this episode, doesn't mean I'm not going to be watching it either. I decide to do weekly, which I'm not, but I am going to watch it in a binge format for sure. I'm very excited for all the episodes to drop very soon, and holy shit, this is going to be a good one and a good way to end 2021 among varying other anime as well. But let me know your thoughts. If you did check out any of Blue Period, please try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible for future content, because most people probably have watched past episode 1, but these are my first impressions. Let me know what you thought down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.